Hi, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you're joining us from. Thanks so much for joining today. Today's session is Brain Breaks for Pre-K, TK, and kindergarten classrooms. My name is Erin, and I will be your trainer and your host today. So happy you could join us. I'm the Director of Curriculum and Instruction at Pure Edge, as well as a national trainer. And I have done this work in the classroom at these grade levels. So if you have specific questions, please interact, reach out. We use the Q&A box here at Pure Edge. So if you have specific questions or responses or feedback throughout the session, just go ahead and hop into the Q&A. And with that, I will keep going. Our time is short. I want to be efficient. If you're joining us, you probably know about our organization. We are a private operating foundation that provides direct service to organizations through professional development and strategy thought partnership. An additional thing we offer, and I will address this in our webinar today, is that we have a host of resources available at no cost to you. So they're all available on our website, and they're really amazing and they're really useful. So I'm going to encourage you to go ahead and create an account if you haven't done that yet, and I'll talk you through how to do it. Okay, so as we start, I thought it would be nice to hear a little bit about who's on our call. So if you don't mind, go ahead and share in the Q&A your name, where you're joining from. If you're associated with a school district or an organization, you can put that in the Q&A. And then finally, just for fun, and also because it's modeling of some good adult SEL, our welcoming activity is share something that made you smile today. So if you can go ahead and do that, your name, where you're joining from, and something that made you smile, that would be wonderful. And okay, thank you. So Sharon has shared Brookfield, Connecticut. Um, are you a PT, Sharon, like a physical therapist? That's exciting. And sunrises make her smile. Ooh, sunrises are great. I confess I haven't seen many of those lately. I'm usually inside, like doing morning things for our family, but when we have the chance to get outside and take that in, that is a beautiful thing to smile about. Okay, anyone else? Go ahead and chime in. I am going to keep us moving just because we want to be efficient with our time. So if you're responding in the Q&A, um, go ahead and finish that up, and I will circle back to those after we complete our Mindful Minute. So Mindful Minute is our first experiential of the morning here, or of the session, I should say, depending on where you're joining from. For Mindful Minute, I invite you to come into a comfortable sitting position. So you just want to be comfortable. You want to sit up a little bit tall, let the shoulders soften. If you're in a chair, you can see if you can get both feet onto the ground. Your eyes can be open or closed. It's your choice, whichever feels the most comfortable. And we're just going to start to bring our attention to our breathing. So noticing the breath as it comes in and out the nose. And we're really not doing anything to control our breath. We're just paying attention to the sensations that we feel as we breathe in and as we breathe out. You might start to notice the pace of your breath. You might notice the temperature of your breath, whether that breath feels warm or cool. And now we're going to shift our attention and see if you can fix your attention on the beating of your heart. For myself, I find when I shift my attention from the breath to the heart, it takes a moment, but if I rest my attention in the area where I know my heart is beating, after a moment or two, I start to feel that heartbeat. And then again, just noticing whether the heart is beating fast or slow and what information that's giving you about about your state of mind right now. And from here, when you're ready, you can start to deepen the breath. And if you close the eyes, you can open. And again, just take a moment after that simple exercise. That was about 2 minutes, maybe 2.5. Just notice how you feel having checked in. And if you would like to share in the Q&A, go ahead and share. And I also want to just circle back to Carrie. Thank you, Carrie, for checking in. And Carrie shared from San Diego um, that her angel dog Jax makes her smile. So love that. Our animal friends can always bring a smile to our face. Okay. So our objectives today, um, as we've already done, we're already ticking a box here. We want to experience the brain breaks exercises because this type of work, when we want to bring this work to the kids in our care or share with, our colleagues, we're the best advocates for this work when we've experienced it ourselves and when we kind of feel it in our own bodies. We're better able to articulate it and better able to share it. Um, we're going to strategize implementation. And again, I'm going to make sure you have access to our website so that you can get all the free resources we have to share with you. Um, the strategies for brain breaks are very simple. The exercises are breathing, moving, and resting exercises. I always say they're simple, but they're not necessarily easy. And the easiness or hardness comes in um, because these exercises are most effective when we do them with consistency, right? So, as our own personal practice, if we want to support our own well being, really building time for these exercises every single day is the way to go. And the same goes for when we do this work with the kids, structuring the practices into your routines, into the routines of your day is what's going to have the most benefit. Over time, when we are consistent, these exercises actually build our capacity to stay responsive in stressful situations or when we're feeling like those powerful emotions and those big feelings. And that's something that happens with consistent practice over time. And as you know, working with young children, self care has to be part of the equation. So when we do these strategies, when we build our own capacity for handling the stresses in our lives, then we're better able to turn around and offer the space to the kids in our care. We have more capacity to handle their big, powerful emotions and feelings, and we can navigate those more difficult days more easily when we've taken care of ourselves first. And I'll talk a little bit about this further on, but the beauty of the brain breaks is that when you teach them with the kids, you can also take a few breaths yourself, right? And so we're getting, it's like a 2-for-1 deal, right? You get your own self-care while you support the well-being of the kids in your care. So our next exercise is starfish. Starfish is a lovely one to do with children for a couple of reasons. One being that it integrates not only the breath, but also the sense of touch. And when we give kids something else to focus on, it helps them do their breathing exercises, particularly the younger children. So, for starfish, again, for all our breathing, we want to sit up a little bit tall, have some softness in the shoulders, um, and we're going to hold one hand up. Bring the opposite index finger to the base of the thumb. You can turn your hand to the side a little. That makes it a little more comfortable to do the exercise. I usually hold it up while I'm demonstrating so folks can see. And what we're going to do is trace the outline of the fingers and time it with our breath. So let's all take one gentle breath in and one relaxed breath out, breathing in and out the nose. And then inhale, tracing up to the top of the thumb. Exhale, tracing down. Good. Inhale to come up. Exhaling down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale, tracing up. Exhale down. Last one. Breathe in and breathe out. From here, releasing the hands down. Take a natural breath in and out and just notice how you feel. Okay, and again, any responses to the brain breaks, you can go ahead and share in the Q&A. When we think about doing this work with young children, I think it's really important to highlight how monumental of a time in development are the early years of life. And this fact always stands out to me. So, a child's brain forms more than 1 million neural connections every second during the first years of life. Right? So, this is a time in development where the brain is just growing at a monumental rate, and connections are being forged, learning is happening, and a lot of this learning is like foundational learning that's going to take the child through their entire life. Doesn't mean we don't continue to learn lifelong. We do, but the early years are really impactful years on our development. And in particular, when we think about social and emotional development, this development progresses rapidly between the ages of 3 and 6. So this is right in the age range that our pre-K, TK, kinder are looking at. And in this time of life, kids are highly dependent on grown-ups. And in general, of course, there are always going to be some exceptions, but in general, kids at this age are very responsive to adult input and support. They're still looking to us, right? The parts of the brain that support their cognitive self regulation are influenced by the environment. And therefore, for all of these reasons, this time period is a great time to integrate social and emotional learning into the classroom. Okay, and again, as I said before, with social and emotional learning, we're not only talking about teaching the kids skills and practices, although that is part of what we're doing, right? And then we're going to share strategies for supporting kids to do these breathing exercises and everything. But they also learn so much just from modeling, just from being around us. So if we're able to model some of the behaviors and the states of mind that we want to support in the kids, it's going to be more beneficial. Okay, so throughout the webinar, I'm going to showcase a few of our Brain Breaks videos because these are available to you and they're designed to be used and implemented in the classroom. So this upcoming Brain Break is a seated Brain Break, so you can stay sitting down. And the language of instruction for this one is Spanish. If you don't speak Spanish, I'm sure you will figure out how to follow along. Okay, so enjoy. This is Butterfly.
Brazos de animales, mariposa. Inhale, levante sus alas de mariposa hacia el lado y exhale para cerrar sus alas de mariposa. Inhale, extienda las alas de la mariposa y exhale y cierre las alas de la mariposa. Inhale, abra sus alas, exhale, cierre. Inhale, las alas se abren. Exhale mientras las alas se cierran.
Hey. Okay, so that was Animal Arms, Butterfly, and just a really nice example of our videos. So the program in general, very simple. The exercises are 1 to 5 minutes. Um, Components of the program, and you can use any or all of these, whatever works for you. We have videos and a card deck. So the card deck is, it's small. It's designed to be at hand in the classroom. So, and it will have like a image of the brain break on one side and instructions on the other side. So the videos and card decks are available in all of the languages that you see on the screen. We're really working to make these resources accessible to as many students and as many children as possible. So that's why we're offering them in this range of languages. Many of the videos also are available with ASL interpretation, although the ones with ASL interpretation are not the animated ones. We put the ASL interpretation on similar brain breaks, but and I'll show you on the curriculum page how to navigate to the ones that have that interpretation available. And there is a brain breaks manual that has all the brain breaks in there and step-by-step instructions scripted, so it's very easy to deliver. And the manual is available in English and Spanish. We also have implementation guides for each for several grade level bands, and those are also available in English and Spanish. And again, those are just helpful hints, kind of pointers, ways to get started, maybe an example of what brain break to use at what time, just till you find your own way with the program. And like I said before, we recommend that these be built into your daily routine and we implement every day. Certain times that are beneficial for brain breaks are arrival and departure. And arrival is one of my favorite times. And I know sometimes it's not like maybe the kids come in and have free play for a little while, and then you come into a larger group. Um, so when we first come together as a group, I think that's a really nice time because we don't know what kind of morning everyone had, right? We don't know what's going on at home. We don't know what kids are kind of coming in the door with. And so a brain break is just a really nice way to help kids move into the school day, right? And if they had some stress, if they were running late, if it was a stressful morning, it just gives them a way to kind of build in these tools to help them regulate. Um, but there are other times that can work equally well. Maybe when you're working in small groups with a group of children, you can integrate the brain breaks then. Certain brain breaks will really help us calm down if you have a resting time in your daily program. And yeah, there's really no wrong time to use a brain break. It's just being able to integrate the brain break with consistency into the routine. So, kind of choosing what time might work best for your program and then going from there. Um, okay. And then again, in general, we recommend consistency. We talked about the times of the day. When we talk about start small, then build, really what we're saying is you don't have to do every brain break in the book, the first week that you try them out. So it's really nice to just pick a couple of brain breaks and let the kids get familiar. And then over time, you'll add in newer brain breaks once their familiarity level is there. And that helps them get comfortable with the exercises and kind of know what to expect. And we just find that that's the most useful, most beneficial way to introduce the exercises. And there's nothing wrong with repetition. Our brains actually like repetition, right? Because we can just get more comfortable and feel familiar. So if you think about, I think about like my kids, it's like there's certain shows or movies that they would like to watch again and again and again, and they don't get bored by that, right? So same with the brain breaks, like let them experience the same brain break many times before you get into adding too much variety. And the more comfortable you are with the exercises yourself, um, again, the more you're going to have to offer them and the more you're going to be able to support them. One thing I didn't put on this slide that I do think is important, and it's something that I try to model even when I'm teaching adults, is that when we do these exercises, it's really nice to ask for feedback from the kids. And you don't have to do that every single time, but after you practice a brain break as a group, maybe just ask, like, can anyone tell me how they feel? And they can raise their hand and they can let you know. And what's nice about that, there's two things that are, great in my opinion. The first is that we're training them on self-awareness, right? So they're developing their capacity to notice how they're feeling and articulate it, right? So this is a great skill to have. Second of all, we're not telling them how the brain break should make them feel. Like, don't you feel nice and calm? No, that's not what we're going to do. We're going to ask them. And a lot of the times, that's the feedback you'll get. I feel calm. I feel relaxed. But maybe one learner might come out with something that's a little different from that. And that gives you information on how the exercise made them feel. It might help you troubleshoot if they say like, "Oh, I felt dizzy," or "I felt," I don't know, I can't think of another example, but sometimes you will hear like them saying they felt dizzy, and then that might just give you that information of, okay, let me make sure the next time we do this brain break, I'm gonna watch and make sure that, Sarah's actually breathing in a nice, even way, right? So it can give you some more feedback and information on how it goes. Okay. This slide, I don't think we need to go through step by step, but I pulled many of these from our implementation guide. And these are just kind of fan favorites for this grade level. Overall, I will say that anytime we can be playful at this age level, right, invite them to bring in their imagination. So like the animal arms, we did one example, we did the butterfly, but if you're leading them through animal arms, you can really get them engaged. And at this age, they just love that, right? So you can ask them what color their butterfly wings are, ask them where their butterfly is flying to, just get them being creative and thinking and engaging with the exercise in that way. So kind of using the imagination, being creative. And then you can see with the resting poses, we have like our listen to the chime and we have our mind jar. And those again are both exercises that use something besides just sitting still and being quiet. So we use a sound, we use a visual, we use things that will help engage them with all of their senses. And that is really effective it's really effective at all levels, including adults, but especially for the very young children. A mind jar, Mary, great question. A mind jar is like, and I meant to bring one and it's not handy, so I'll just describe it. It's like one of those glitter jars. So usually you use a plastic jar, especially if you're in the school setting, has a screw-on lid, and then it will have like glitter inside suspended in like a solution that's like water, glitter, might have like some glitter glue or something in there to slow it down. And we actually have a mind jar recipe. In our curriculum, so you can access one there, or they're all over, you can find one on the web, but you shake it up and then they watch the sparkles settle while they do their breathing. So I hope that helps. But again, just for this age and grade level, anytime we can be a little more hands-on and a little more concrete and engage the imagination, we're going to be more successful. It's also nice if you're able to, it's nice to set up a, a space in your classroom. That is a space the learners know they can go to and, try to access a sense of calm. So I gave you two examples. These are actual classrooms in schools where we've worked. I like these examples because they're distinct from each other. The one with the purple frame is called our rest nest. And that one you can see these teachers were a little extra. They have all the plants, they have cushions, they have soft lighting. They've really got a nice cozy carpet and they just made this a really beautiful space for the kids. And there's some books the kids can access. And we don't all have the ability to do that depending on the space that we have to work with. So I also wanted to share the other one, the one that has the little, soft green frame around it. And that one's as simple as a tiny little mat on the floor, a light, and a poster. But it's still a space that the kids know if they're having big feelings in their classroom, they can go and sit there. And again, including like some tools to help them relax, maybe the card deck, maybe a mind jar, a breathing ball, which is like a Hoberman sphere, a little plastic tool that kind of you can pull it and it expands and then it contracts, and we teach the kids to breathe with that. So just having a physical space that can support their brain breaks practice is a nice thing to do. Okay, now we are getting close to our time. So unfortunately, we're going to skip our standing half moon. Sorry about that. And I want to make sure we have time to share the resources. So this is our website, pureedgeinc.org. You can go ahead and take a picture of that if that's helpful to you. And then once you go on the website, you can access, like I said, the manual, the implementation guides, and the card decks, and those are all available to download. Um, and then we have our video library. And the video library you can see here, there's animated, youth, adult, and then you can choose other languages. So you can select the language and you can select the style of brain break that you want to have. The youth brain breaks are acted out by children. They're a little bit older than kindergarten age. They're more like upper elementary into middle school, but it still could be useful for the kids to see some kids doing them. And then the adult brain breaks are acted out by adults, but many of the same brain breaks are in each of the um, types of video, if that makes sense. Okay, so I did see a few questions. I want to acknowledge that we're at our time, so I'm happy to stay and answer questions. If you need to go, I understand, and I'm grateful that you were able to stay. Um, so let's see. Was it chat? Here is our Q&A. Okay, so it actually looks like we're doing pretty good on questions. Okay, well, if you have any questions, go ahead and share. Um, and as my host, Jessie, has shared, we also have a YouTube channel. So and she linked that in the chat. So if you want to access some of these resources through YouTube, that's also available. All right. Well, it looks like folks are quiet, so hopefully that means questions have been answered. Um, let's see. So if you have time and you'd like to wrap up with one final brain break, I will talk us through the attitude of gratitude. And if you don't have time, that's also just fine. So for the attitude of gratitude, just coming into a comfortable position. And you can keep eyes open or eyes closed. Just connect with your breath. So just taking a gentle breath in through the nose and out. And think of something or someone in your life for which you are thankful or grateful, right? And it can be anyone or anything. Just call that person or that thing to mind, or it could be a pet, right? Let's take a few moments to just appreciate this person, this pet, this thing. And just notice how it feels in your body when we focus on appreciation. And when you're ready, you can take another gentle breath in through the nose and out. And from here, thank you so much for joining. If you have, if you can think of one next step that you would like to take, go ahead and type it into the Q&A. And if you're not sure what your next step should be, I will make one suggestion. If you don't already have a curriculum account, I think you should go to our website, pureedgeinc.org, and go to the curriculum page and create an account, because then you can access all of these resources and see what you might like to share with the learners in your care. Let's see. Hey, well, thank you all so much for joining. Here is all my contact info. One of my favorite things to do is hear from folks who are utilizing this work on the ground with the educators and kids that they serve. So please reach out if there's any way I can support you.